Tonight, before you scroll away, let me tell you something that won't leave your heart for days. In a quiet town somewhere between wide cornfields and old brick diners, a story unfolded that shocked everyone, especially the man who thought he had everything. A millionaire known across the state for his cold handshake and Wall Street attitude found himself undone by someone no one expected. A humble woman from a community kitchen on the edge of town. People in small American towns talk. They always do. They remember who shows up when tornado season hits, who keeps the lights on at the church basement, who hands out warm chili on freezing nights. Emily Dawson was one of those people, steady, kind, the type who knows every neighbor by name. Nathan Hale? He was the opposite. A man in tailored suits rolling up in a black Escalade while everyone pretended not to stare. The kind of man who never apologized and never kneeled. But that changed. Because one day, in a moment no one saw coming, this powerful multimillionaire dropped to his knees, right there on a rain-soaked sidewalk in front of a tiny brick church, because of 3 simple words spoken by the woman he once overlooked. Stay with me. Because these weren't romantic words. They weren't dramatic threats. They weren't desperate pleas. They were words soaked in truth, wrapped in grace, and strong enough to break a heart made of iron. And once you hear what she said and why she said it, you'll understand why crowds still whisper about that night, why his life changed forever, why some miracles don't look supernatural at first, until they rewrite a destiny. This isn't just a love story, it's a redemption story. It's a testimony of what happens when pride finally cracks and God steps in. So take a breath, lean in, and don't look away, because by the time you reach the end, you will feel these 3 words echoing in your own soul. Are you ready? Let's begin. The town was the kind you passed through on your way to somewhere bigger. One main street, a diner that never changed its sign, and a church that rang out on Sundays. On weeknights, the brightest light wasn't the grocery store or the bar. It was the old community center behind the church, windows glowing like a heartbeat. Inside, Emily Dawson wiped the last table, the smell of soup and cornbread still in the air. She moved with the slow, unhurried rhythm de quem sabe que ninguém ali estava com pressa. Dinner rush had ended an hour ago. Only stacked chairs and drying dishes kept her company. Country music hummed low from an old radio beside the industrial sink. Her sweatshirt sleeves were rolled up, damp, stained with tomato sauce and grace. She didn't complain. This was where she felt most alive. Most people in town knew Emily as the girl from the kitchen. The one who remembered how you liked your chili and always added extra cheese. The one who showed up with casseroles when layoffs hit the factory. She prayed under her breath more than she posted online. And she believed stubbornly that God still saw little places like this. Somewhere miles away, in a glass tower overlooking a different skyline, Nathan Hale slammed a door. The conference room was empty now, but the echo of raised voices clung to the air. His phone buzzed nonstop. Board members, lawyers, reporters, all demanding something. One bad headline had turned into a storm he couldn't control. For the first time in years, throwing money at it didn't make it go away. He loosened his tie, staring at his reflection in the black SUV window. The city felt suddenly too small, too loud, too full of people who wanted something. Drive, he told his chauffeur, voice clipped, eyes on nothing in particular. Where, sir? The man asked, glancing nervously in the rearview mirror. Just drive, Nathan repeated, as if motion itself might quiet his thoughts. Highways blurred into backroads as the skyline faded into darkness. Neon lights gave way to gas stations and fields that went on forever. Rain clouds rolled in from the west, turning the evening heavier. Nathan watched water streak down the glass like someone else's tears. He didn't know where he was going. He just knew he couldn't stay. An hour later, the SUV's low fuel light blinked on, an unwelcome orange warning. They were somewhere in the middle of nowhere. At least, that's how it felt to him. The driver pointed toward a small cluster of lights in the distance. A town up ahead, sir. I should stop and fill up, he said. Nathan sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Fine. Whatever. They turned off the main road onto a quiet street lined with parked trucks. Christmas lights still hung from some porches, even though the season had passed. A neon open sign buzzed from a diner window, reflecting on rain-slick asphalt. but it was the building behind the church that caught Nathan's eye. Its warm light spilled out like someone forgot to turn off hope. Inside the community center, Emily stacked the last metal chair onto the table. Her hands were starting to feel the day, ache in the fingers, tired in the wrists. She checked the big coffee urn one last time. There was still half a pot. Outside, rain began to tick against the windows like nervous fingers. She glanced at the clock and exhaled. It was later than she thought. That's when she heard it. A car door, then another, closing outside. Not the familiar slam of local pickup trucks, but something heavier, smoother. She walked to the door and peered through the narrow glass. A black SUV sat under the dim streetlight, rain sliding off its polished frame. Two figures, one driver, one sharply dressed man, stood arguing in low tones. Emily hesitated only for a second before unlocking the door. This was still America. Strangers showed up when storms rolled in, and directions were wrong. She stepped under the awning, pulling her hoodie tighter around her shoulders. "Hey, you guys okay?" she called, her voice carrying easily in the quiet street. The man in the suit turned, and for a second, neither of them moved. Up close, Nathan looked exactly like the type of man who didn't get lost. Perfectly tailored coat, polished shoes that didn't belong on cracked sidewalks. His jaw was tight, eyes tired but sharp as steel. Water beaded on his hair and ran down the collar of his trench coat. He didn't look like someone who needed help. He looked like someone who refused it. "We're fine," he said quickly, out of habit more than truth. "We just need gas." "The station here open?" he asked, scanning the street. Emily wiped her wet hands on a dish towel she still held. "Not this late." "Joe closes early on Wednesdays," she replied, half apologetic. "But you can come in for a minute. It's cold out. I've got coffee." Nathan almost said no. The word sat heavy on his tongue. He wasn't the one who accepted small kindnesses from strangers in hoodies. He paid for what he needed and kept moving. That was how his world worked. But there was something disarming about the way she said it. Like she wasn't impressed by him or threatened by him. Just human. "We won't be long," he muttered, mostly to himself, nodding to the driver. He followed her into the warm glow of the community center. The air smelled like soup, dish soap, and something that felt oddly like safety. Fluorescent lights hummed above, reflecting off stainless steel counters and plastic trays. His expensive shoes squeaked softly on the linoleum floor, betraying him. Emily moved behind the counter with the ease of someone on home turf. She reached for a styrofoam cup and filled it with fresh coffee. "No cream. Sorry. We ran out. Sugar's over there if you want," she said. He took the cup, fingers brushing the warmth like it surprised him. "This is fine," he answered, voice low, almost grateful but not ready to show it. He reached instinctively for his wallet, the leather worn only from use, not struggle. "How much?" he asked, already sliding out a bill without looking. Emily's eyebrow rose as she shook her head, a small smirk forming. "Relax, Wall Street. It's just coffee," she said lightly. "We don't charge people to come in from the rain." "Wall Street?" he repeated, the corner of his mouth twitching despite himself. "Something like that," he added, not confirming, not denying. People usually scrambled to impress him when they sensed his status. She just walked past him toward the sink, unfazed, rinsing a pot. "So what brings something like that to our little dot on the map?" He didn't have a clean answer, and that irritated him more than the storm. "Just needed to get out of the city," he said, staring into the dark coffee. "Long day," he added, as if that could possibly cover it. Out the window, rain streaked down, turning streetlights into blurred halos. For once, he didn't have a rehearsed line to hide behind. "Well, you picked the right random place," Emily replied, voice easy, sincere. "Town's quiet, but it's good quiet, you know, the kind that lets you breathe." She tossed a towel over her shoulder, moving another pan into the rack. Long days feel different when you're surrounded by people who remember your name. She didn't look at him when she said it, but he felt it anyway. From his pocket, his phone lit up again, screen filled with notifications. Headlines, emails, missed calls from people who suddenly cared a little too much. Nathan stared at his name in bold letters under an ugly news banner. His throat tightened, and for a second, the room felt smaller. He locked the screen and set the phone face down on the counter. Emily noticed the flicker of something in his expression, then looked away politely. She'd seen that face before. Different people, same weight behind the eyes. Grief, shame, mistakes, pressure. It all wore a similar uniform. "You don't have to tell me what happened," she said gently, rinsing another plate. "But if you ever want to, this place hears a lot of stories." He wasn't used to people offering listening ears without hidden invoices attached. In his world, every favor had a cost, every conversation a strategy. Here, the only strategy seemed to be feeding people until their shoulders dropped. He let out a short, humorless breath that almost became a laugh. "You wouldn't want to hear my story," he said. "Trust me." Emily finally turned, bracing her hands on the counter between them. Her eyes were steady, warm, and annoyingly hard to dodge. People say that a lot right before they tell the story that changes everything. Her words hung in the air, simple but oddly weighted. "Sometimes the mess is exactly where God starts," she added softly. Nathan felt something in his chest shift, like a door creaking on old hinges. He didn't know this woman, this town, this kitchen that smelled like comfort. But for the first time in a very long time, he didn't feel like a headline. He felt like a man standing in front of someone who wasn't impressed by his money, just curious about his soul, whether he liked it or not. Nathan didn't sleep that night. He stayed in a cheap roadside motel on the edge of town, staring at the ceiling. The bed was too soft, the heater too loud, and his mind louder still. Emily's words replayed like a broken record he couldn't turn off. Sometimes the mess is exactly where God starts. By morning, he felt more unsettled than before. He showered, dressed, and put on the armor he knew best. A tailored suit, polished shoes, and a face no one questioned. But the weight behind his ribs didn't leave. It followed him like a shadow he couldn't outrun. He wasn't planning to return to the community center. Men like him didn't go back to small-town kitchens for comfort. But as he drove aimlessly through the quiet streets, the warm glow from the building caught his eye again. It almost felt like the place was calling him. Inside, Emily was organizing canned goods from a local donation. Her hair was tied up, loose curls falling around her face. Country gospel hummed from a speaker on the counter. She moved with purpose and peace, two things he lacked entirely. When the door creaked, she didn't even look up. "Coffee's fresh. Grab a cup," she said casually. Nathan blinked. She recognized the sound of him entering. He wasn't used to being predicted, let alone known. He stepped inside, letting the door close behind him. Her calmness pressed against his storm like an open hand. "You came back," she said, finally glancing at him. Not impressed, not nervous, simply acknowledging it. "No big deal. People wander in and out all the time." He knew that wasn't true. He'd seen how the town watched strangers. But she wasn't about to flatter him for showing up. "I wanted to thank you for last night." The words felt foreign, like trying on clothes that didn't fit. Emily paused mid-stack of cans, eyebrow lifting with amusement. "You're welcome," she said, shrugging softly. "Storms hit everyone. You weren't special." Nathan almost laughed. She was serious. No one spoke to him like that. Back in his world, even his enemies watched their tone. Here, this woman didn't bother pretending, and somehow, that honesty felt like fresh air. He reached for his wallet again. Habit, instinct, reflex. Emily saw it and shook her head immediately. "Nope, put that away. We don't do transactions here." Her voice was firm but kind, a line drawn without hostility. "This is a community kitchen, not a drive-through." Nathan let the wallet fall back into his pocket. "But I can donate." "It's nothing for me." Emily cut him off with a gentle lift of her hand. "I know your type means well, but money isn't the fix for everything." The words landed like a stone dropped in still water. He bristled, straightening his shoulders. "My type?" he repeated as if offended. Emily didn't flinch. Men who think writing checks is the same as showing up. Her tone wasn't accusing, just painfully, accurately true. Nathan opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. Because she was right, and he hated that she was right. No one ever confronted him without fear of consequences. Emily wasn't pretending he was powerful. She wasn't pretending he was helpless either. "So what? You want me to volunteer?" he asked dryly. Emily stifled a smile, shaking her head. "It's not about what I want, Nathan." She set down a box, dusting her hands on her jeans. "It's about who you want to be." The question hit him harder than any headline. Who did he want to be? A man hiding behind success, running from failure? Someone who only showed up when it benefited him? Or someone different? Emily picked up another crate, muscles straining slightly. Nathan stepped forward before he could overthink it. "Here," he said, taking the box from her hands. It surprised both of them. Maybe him more than her. "Let me." For a second, Emily just studied him. Not suspicious, not impressed, simply observing, as if deciding whether she could trust the change she saw. Then she nodded once, slow and gentle. "All right, you can help." Nathan lifted the box, feeling unfamiliar weight in his arms. Not physical weight, he could handle that. Something internal, something humbling. For the first time in years, he wasn't directing or commanding. He was simply participating. They worked in silence, stacking supplies on metal shelves. Rain tapped softly against the windows, a slow, steady rhythm. The heater buzzed, filling the quiet with a comforting drone. Emily hummed along to the music as she organized the shelves. Nathan found himself strangely soothed by the simplicity of it. When they finished, Emily leaned against the counter, catching her breath. "You know," she said thoughtfully, "most people bow to money." Nathan tensed, unsure where she was going with this. "But you walked in here last night looking like someone who finally stopped running." Her voice softened. "That's not weakness, Nathan, it's honesty." He stared at her, unsure why her words cut deeper than they should. Honesty. Something he hadn't embraced in years. He swallowed hard, throat suddenly tight. "Emily, you don't know me." "Not yet," she answered. "But I'm not afraid to." And for the first time in a long time, Nathan Hale felt small in a way that didn't humiliate him, but freed him. Because this woman didn't bow to him. And maybe that's why he couldn't walk away. Emily didn't expect Nathan to return the next day. Men like him drifted in and out like storms. Loud, disruptive, quick to disappear. But when she pushed open the community kitchen doors at 7 a.m., there he was, standing awkwardly near the counter, hands in his pockets. It was the most uncomfortable she had ever seen a millionaire look. He cleared his throat when she entered. "Morning," he said, voice lower than usual. Emily blinked, surprised but hiding it well. "Morning," she echoed, walking past him toward the sink. "You're early." "Very early." Nathan rubbed the back of his neck. "I didn't sleep much," he admitted, eyes avoiding hers. Emily didn't pry. She never did. Instead, she handed him an apron from the hook on the wall. "Then congratulations," she said softly. "You're on breakfast duty." He stared at the apron like it was written in a language he didn't speak. "You want me to cook?" "Relax, Gordon Ramsay. Just crack eggs," she replied with a hint of humor. He exhaled sharply, almost a laugh, but took the apron anyway. "I'll try not to burn the place down." They worked side by side in a rhythm he didn't know he needed. Emily chopped vegetables with practiced precision, while Nathan cracked eggs, awkward but determined. Sunlight streamed through the windows, warming the stainless steel counters. For a moment, the world outside didn't feel so loud. As they cooked, Emily watched him from the corner of her eye. He wasn't graceful, but he wasn't entitled either. He dropped an eggshell into the bowl and muttered under his breath. Emily hid a smile as she reached over and fished it out. "Relax, no one's judging you here." Nathan paused, fingers still over the bowl. "That's the thing," he said quietly. "I'm used to being judged by everyone." Emily leaned back against the counter, arms folded. "Then maybe this is where you get to breathe differently." He met her gaze, something raw flickering behind his eyes. "Why do you care?" he asked, not accusing, genuinely confused. Emily shrugged one shoulder. Simple, sincere. "Because somebody cared about me once when I didn't deserve it." She cracked another egg. "Now I pay it forward." Before he could respond, the back door swung open, and Pastor Carter walked in, shaking off the cold morning air. He looked between them, eyebrows lifting in surprise. "Well, look at that. Emily found herself a helper," he teased. Nathan stiffened instantly, unsure how to respond. Emily stepped in smoothly, sparing him the awkwardness. "He's learning," she said, voice warm but teasing. Pastor Carter nodded approvingly, setting down a box of donations. "Good. We could use more hands around here." Nathan lowered his gaze, uncharacteristically humbled. As the pastor left, Emily turned back to Nathan. "He's harmless," she said with a soft laugh. "But he's right. You did good today." Nathan stared at the bowl of eggs like it held answers. "No one tells me that," he said quietly. Emily softened, sensing the wound beneath the statement. "In your world, maybe. But here, effort matters more than perfection." She slid a tray of biscuits into the oven. "And you showed up. That counts for something." He swallowed hard, the words settling deep inside him. When breakfast was served, townsfolk filtered in. Construction workers, single moms, retirees, kids with mismatched coats. They greeted Emily by name, with smiles and small talk. Nathan watched from behind the counter, unseen but observing everything. For the first time, he witnessed community without agenda. One little girl with pigtails and pink rain boots approached shyly. Emily crouched to hug her, whispering something that made the girl giggle. Nathan watched the exchange, heart tightening unexpectedly. He wasn't used to tenderness without strings attached. When the girl waved at him, he found himself waving back. Later, Emily joined him at the counter, sipping coffee from a chipped mug. "This is my life," she said gently. "Small, maybe, but real." Nathan nodded slowly, taking in the laughter, the warmth, the simplicity. "It's different," he admitted, voice thick with something he didn't name. "Feels like people actually see each other here." Emily glanced at him, eyes soft but steady. "And I see you, Nathan." He froze, breath catching. No one had said that to him in years, not without wanting something, not without expectation, fear, or ambition behind it. For a moment he looked like he might argue, but then something inside him simply gave up fighting. He lowered his gaze, pulse unsteady, walls cracking. "You shouldn't," he whispered. "People like me hurt anything they get close to." Emily didn't flinch, didn't retreat. She rested her palm gently on the counter between them, not touching him, just inviting truth into the space. "Maybe it's time you learned another way," she said softly. "And maybe this time, you don't have to learn it alone." Nathan inhaled shakily, as if her words reached someplace unguarded. The kitchen was noisy behind them, but this moment felt suspended. Emily's presence didn't overwhelm. It steadied, anchored, softened edges he'd forgotten he had. And for the first time, he didn't want to run. Nathan didn't expect the day to unravel the way it did. He had planned on helping Emily for a couple of hours, stacking boxes, clearing tables, pretending he wasn't unraveling inside. But midway through serving lunch, his phone began to buzz nonstop. Vibration after vibration echoed like warning shots in his pocket. At first, he ignored it. He wasn't ready to step back into the world he'd escaped. But when the buzzing became relentless, Emily glanced at him gently. "You can check it," she said. "I'm not your warden." Her smile was soft, but the concern behind it was real. Nathan stepped into the hallway, pulling out his phone. The screen lit up with breaking news banners, angry emails, and a voicemail from his business partner that chilled his blood. "Call me right now. Everything is blowing up." The walls around him felt suddenly too tight. He listened to another voicemail, this one from a reporter, then one from his legal team, voices clipped with urgency. 2 more from board members demanding explanations. It was chaos wearing the face he knew too well. The life he had built on control was collapsing without asking permission. His chest tightened, breath growing shallow. He pressed a hand against the wall, grounding himself. The hallway was empty, but the weight inside him was not. For years, Nathan had survived by outrunning disaster, but this time disaster was faster. Emily walked by with a tray of clean cups and paused. She didn't ask what happened. She didn't need to. She saw the panic shadowing his eyes, the way his jaw locked. Quietly, she set the tray down on a table. "Nathan," she said, soft as a prayer. "Talk to me." He shook his head, anger and fear mixing in his throat. "You wouldn't understand," he muttered. Emily crossed her arms, unimpressed with the deflection. "You'd be surprised," she replied. "Try me." Nathan's voice cracked before his pride could catch it. "My company is falling apart," he whispered. "A scandal. Board members turning on me. Reporters everywhere." He swallowed hard. "Everything I built, it's slipping away." His confession trembled like something he wasn't used to sharing. Emily didn't look shocked or overwhelmed. Instead, she took a slow breath, grounding the moment. "And where do you fit into all that?" she asked gently. He frowned, thrown off. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she said, "are you the mistake, or the man trying to fix it?" Her words hit him like a truth he wasn't ready to swallow. Nathan sank onto a chair, elbows on his knees, hands clasping tightly. "I don't know anymore," he admitted, voice thin. "For years, I've been the guy who wins, no matter the cost." Emily kneeled slightly to meet his eye level. "Winning isn't the same as living," she said softly, "and running a company isn't the same as having a life." Nathan looked away, jaw flexing with self-loathing. "I hurt people," he whispered. "A lot of people." Emily's expression didn't harden. It softened. "Then maybe this is where you start making things right." He blinked, startled. "You think I can come back from this?" Emily tilted her head, her tone steady and honest. "I've seen people come back from worse." Nathan exhaled shakily, vulnerability seeping through the cracks. "What if I don't deserve a second chance?" "None of us deserve it," she said. "That's why it's called grace." Her voice wrapped around him like warmth he didn't know he needed. For a moment, he couldn't speak. His pride, the shield he always carried, felt suddenly heavy. Too heavy to keep holding. He pressed a palm to his forehead, breath uneven. "I don't know how to be the man you think I can be." Emily stepped closer, not invading, just offering presence. "You don't have to be him today," she murmured. "You just have to be honest today." Her eyes lingered on his trembling hands. "And you're doing that." Nathan's phone buzzed again, but he didn't reach for it. He looked at Emily, eyes clouded with something raw and new. Fear, shame, exhaustion, but under all that, something cracking open, something that looked a lot like truth. Emily rested a gentle hand on the back of a chair. "You're breaking open, Nathan. And that's not failure." He swallowed hard, unable to look away from her. That's where the real healing starts. And for the first time in his life, his pride didn't argue. The storm that had been threatening all afternoon finally broke. Rain hammered the streets, turning gutters into rivers and sidewalks into mirrors. Inside the community kitchen, lights flickered as thunder shook the windows. Nathan stood near the counter, fists clenched, breath unsteady. His life was crumbling faster than he could hold it together. Emily watched him silently for a long moment. Not judging, not pitying, simply seeing him. Nathan hated how exposed he felt under her gaze. Every lie he'd told himself, every wall he'd built. They were all shaking under the weight of her quiet presence. He turned away, gripping the edge of the sink. "This is all my fault," he muttered. "Every headline, every betrayal, I caused all of it." His voice cracked under the truth he had never dared to speak aloud. "I don't deserve to be here. I don't deserve anything." Emily stepped closer, slow and deliberate. "Nathan," she said softly, "look at me." But he kept his eyes fixed on the floor, chest heaving. Rain pounded the roof like a heartbeat he couldn't escape. "I hurt people," he whispered. "Good people, innocent people." Emily didn't deny it. She didn't soften it. Instead, she sat on the stool beside him, grounding the moment. "Okay," she said gently. "You hurt people, you made mistakes." Her tone wasn't harsh, just honest. "But you don't have to stay the man who did those things." He let out a broken, humorless laugh. "You don't get it. I built my entire life on being untouchable." He dragged a hand through his hair, pacing restlessly. "I'm not someone who gets forgiven." Emily watched him unravel with steady compassion. Finally, she stood, closing the distance between them. "Nathan," she said again, firmer now, You keep talking like forgiveness is something you earn. He stopped pacing, chest rising and falling like waves in a storm. But it doesn't work that way. Lightning lit the room, casting both of them in pale blue light. Nathan stared at her, anger and grief tangling inside him. "What do you want from me?" he asked, voice rough. "What am I supposed to do? Just pretend I'm redeemable?" His voice shook at the edge of breaking. Emily inhaled slowly, her eyes locked onto his. "No, I don't want you to pretend." She stepped closer, close enough for him to feel her steadiness. "I want you to stop running." Her voice was gentle, but strong enough to steady the storm. Nathan's throat tightened. Stop running? His entire life was built on outrunning pain, consequences, vulnerability. But here, her words made hiding feel impossible. He whispered, "I don't know how." Emily lifted her chin, her expression unwavering. "You start by telling the truth," she said, "and by letting someone stand beside you while you do." She searched his face as if trying to reach something buried deep. "You are not alone, unless you choose to be." He looked away, jaw trembling. "Nobody stays," he said quietly. "Not when they see who I really am." Emily's response was immediate, certain. "That's because you've only been surrounded by people who wanted your success, not your soul." Another flash of lightning illuminated her face. She looked calm, certain, unshaken by the storm outside or the one inside him. Nathan felt his defenses slip, one crack at a time. His voice dropped to a whispered confession. "I'm scared," he said. "I've never said that before." Emily's expression softened, her eyes reflecting something holy. "You don't have to be fearless to change," she murmured. "You just have to be honest." He swallowed hard, staring at her like she was the first safe place he'd ever seen. Emily took one small step closer, close enough for truth. "Nathan," she said, voice barely above a breath. Those 3 words came next. 3 words simple enough for a child, gentle enough for the broken, and powerful enough to bring a proud man to his knees. "God isn't done." The words hit him like a tidal wave. Holy, undeniable, piercing. They cracked something inside him that had been locked for years. His knees buckled before he realized he was falling. And there, on the old linoleum floor, Nathan Hale broke. He covered his face with both hands, shoulders shaking. He didn't cry silently. He wept like someone finally releasing years of buried pain. Emily knelt beside him, not touching, just present. The storm outside echoed the storm within him. But the words she spoke kept lighting the room. "Nathan, God isn't done with you." He sobbed harder, each breath a shudder. No boardroom, no fortune, no victory had ever undone him like this. Only truth, only grace. Emily stayed beside him through every tremor, every gasp for air. She didn't rush him, didn't shush him, didn't offer cliches. She simply stayed, steady, present, unwavering. And in that fragile, sacred moment, something new began to form where pride had once lived. Not strength, not power, not control, but surrender. The beginning of who he could become. Nathan didn't know how long he stayed on that floor. Minutes, hours. Time dissolved into the sound of rain and his own broken breathing. When he finally lifted his head, Emily was still there. Quiet, steady, unshaken. No disgust, no fear, no judgment, just presence. The kind he'd never experienced before. He wiped his face with the back of his sleeve, embarrassed by his vulnerability. "Sorry," he muttered, voice hoarse and uneven. Emily shook her head immediately, firmly. "Don't apologize for being human," she said. "You finally let yourself feel. That's not weakness." Nathan leaned back against the counter, chest still tight. Everything inside him felt raw, tender, exposed. But strangely, lighter, like he'd dropped a suitcase he didn't know he'd been carrying. Emily watched him with a soft, thoughtful expression. "You heard those words for a reason," she said gently. "People don't break unless something deeper is trying to heal." He looked at her, eyes red but clearer than before. "Why would God care about someone like me?" Emily took a slow breath before answering. "You're asking the wrong question," she said. "It's not, why would he care? It's, why wouldn't he?" Her voice carried a quiet conviction that made his throat tighten again. "You're his, even when you forget that." Nathan pressed his palms together, struggling with the truth. He'd always believed success made him valuable. That power earned him a place in the world. But hearing Emily speak felt like someone rewriting his foundation, and for once he wanted to listen. She stood and gestured toward the kitchen. "Come on," she said softly. "Walk with me." He followed her through the hallway, past shelves of canned goods and donated coats. Places he'd overlooked before now felt like glimpses into real life. Life he never allowed himself to touch. Emily stopped at the doorway of the dining hall. "Look around," she said. "This is where healing happens every day." Nathan stepped inside, taking in the worn tables, mismatched chairs, the bulletin board filled with kids' drawings and prayer requests. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't polished, but it was alive. "People come here broken," Emily continued. "People who lost jobs, lost marriages, lost hope. And they sit, they eat, they talk, and something shifts." Nathan listened with a quiet intensity, absorbing every word. "This place has held more miracles than you'd think." He walked slowly between the tables, fingertips brushing the wooden edges. The room held stories, ones he was finally ready to hear. "Emily," he said softly, "how did you end up here?" She smiled, a little sad, but sincere. "I came here once when I had nothing left." Nathan stopped, eyes locked on hers. "You?" he whispered, surprised. Emily nodded. "I wasn't always this steady." Her voice dropped, gentle as memory. "Someone saw me when I couldn't see myself. I'm just returning the favor." He swallowed hard, understanding settling deep within him. "It must be nice," he said quietly. "Being that strong." Emily shook her head. "Strength isn't something you earn once. It's something you choose again and again. Especially on the days you feel least capable." She sat at one of the tables, motioning for him to join. Nathan lowered himself into the chair, shoulders heavy but open. "Tell me what you want now," she said. "Not what your company wants, not what the board wants, but what you want." He stared at his hands for a long second. No boardroom, no cameras, no pressure to be perfect. Just one question that mattered more than any he'd ever faced. Finally, he whispered, "I want to be someone I'm not ashamed of." The confession trembled out of him like truth finally breathing. Emily nodded slowly, deeply. "That's the beginning of everything good," she said. Her eyes held compassion but also conviction. "And you can get there. But you need to learn something first." Nathan looked up, waiting, ready, hungry for direction. "You have to listen," she said softly. "Not just to me, not to the noise from your world, but to the voice that's been calling you for years." Nathan's heart thumped painfully, a crack widening inside him. "The one you tried to drown with work and money and success." He exhaled hard, the truth settling painfully but cleanly. "I don't know how to hear him," he admitted. Emily leaned in, her expression warm and steady. "You start the way everyone starts," she whispered. Quiet, honest, willing. The rain eased outside, turning into a soft drizzle. Nathan looked around the room again. Different now. Sacred somehow. Emily stood, offering him the faintest smile. "You listened today," she said. "More than you realize. And for once." He believed her. Word spreads fast in small towns. Faster than rain, faster than truth. By the next morning, people were whispering about the big city man who had been seen carrying crates, wiping tables, and crying on the kitchen floor. Some whispered with curiosity, others with judgment, but a surprising number whispered with quiet hope. Nathan didn't care about the whispers. For the first time in his life, he wasn't trying to manage narratives. He arrived early again, sleeves already rolled up, greeting volunteers with a nod instead of a stiff corporate smile. Even that felt like a miracle Emily wasn't expecting. But redemption never arrives alone. It always drags the past behind it, ugly, loud, unwilling to stay buried. Mid-morning, as Nathan stacked canned goods near the pantry, The front doors slammed open hard enough to rattle the windows. A man stomped inside, soaked in rain and anger. Emily recognized him instantly. Mr. Turner, owner of the town's hardware store. He was loud, sharp-tongued, and quick to opinions. His gaze swept the room before landing on Nathan like a blade. "That him?" Turner barked. "The big shot from the news?" Emily stepped forward instinctively. "Please lower your voice," she said gently. But Turner wasn't having it. "I've seen the headlines. Fraud, layoffs, lawsuits, and you've got him working in our kitchen?" His voice cracked with fear disguised as fury. Nathan froze mid-step. Old instincts surged. Defend, deny, attack back. But he stopped himself, chest rising and falling in steady restraint. "I'm not hiding," he said, voice controlled but honest. "And I'm not running. Not anymore." Turner scoffed loudly. "What's next? You gonna buy this place just to fix your reputation?" The accusation sliced through the room. Nathan swallowed hard, shame tightening his throat. "No," he said quietly. "I'm just trying to do better." For a moment, no one breathed. Then Turner exploded again. "My brother lost his job because of your company." The words hit Nathan like a physical blow. Unexpected, devastating. Pain flickered across his expression before he could hide it. Emily stepped in front of Turner calmly. "Let him speak," she said, voice soft but unshakable. Turner glared at her, but Emily didn't back down. Her presence wasn't confrontational, it was anchored. The kind of strength that came from truth, not pride. Nathan cleared his throat, hands trembling. "I'm sorry," he whispered, the words unfamiliar but real. "I can't change what happened, but I can change who I am now." Turner scoffed again but hesitated, because sincerity wasn't something you could fake in a room like this. Silence stretched until Emily filled it. "Redemption costs something," she said softly. "It always does. Time, humility, responsibility." She looked at Nathan, not Turner, and he's paying it, one step at a time. Turner seemed ready to argue again, but his anger faltered. Not because he forgave Nathan, he didn't, but because he saw a man who was already broken open. And breaking someone who's already on the ground brings no satisfaction. With a grumble, he turned and stormed back out into the rain. Nathan exhaled a shaky breath as the door closed. He leaned against the counter, chest tight but lighter than expected. "I deserved that," he murmured. Emily shook her head gently. "You deserve the truth, not the cruelty." He looked at her, eyes glassy with exhaustion. "Is this what redemption looks like?" Emily nodded slowly. "Sometimes. It's messy, public, painful, but it's also beautiful, and worth every step." Nathan let the words settle like warm light in cold places. Volunteers returned to their tasks, the room breathing again. But Emily didn't move. She stayed close to him, her presence grounding him like a hand on his shoulder. Without touching, "You did good," she said softly. "Not because you stood your ground, but because you didn't run." Nathan closed his eyes, emotion pressing against his ribs. Running had been his entire identity. Stopping felt like a wound and a blessing at the same time. "And if the whole town hates me now?" he asked quietly. Emily's smile was gentle but unwavering. "Then let them watch you change." Simple, courageous, true. Nathan lifted his gaze, something steady forming behind his eyes. Not pride, not anymore, but resolve. And as thunder rumbled outside, he realized redemption wasn't a single moment. It wasn't a kneel or a confession or a tear. It was a journey. One he wasn't afraid to continue anymore, not with Emily walking beside him. The storm finally cleared overnight, leaving the town washed clean. Puddles mirrored the soft morning sunlight, and the air smelled of wet earth. Nathan arrived at the community kitchen before anyone else, unlocking the doors with a calm he hadn't felt in years. He stood in the quiet room, breathing in the silence. He wasn't the same man who had walked in days ago. Something had shifted, subtle but irreversible. His shoulders rested lower, his breath deeper, his gaze less guarded. He moved through the kitchen with purpose, setting up tables and starting coffee like he belonged there. Emily arrived minutes later, surprised to see lights already on. She paused in the doorway, watching Nathan arrange chairs carefully. He looked different in the morning light. Still strong, still sharp-featured, but softer somehow, like a man who had finally stopped running. "You beat me here," she said, stepping inside. Nathan turned, a shy smile forming. "I couldn't sleep. Thought I'd get started." Emily hung her jacket, her gaze warm and proud. "You're becoming part of this place," she said gently. He swallowed, emotion tightening his throat. "I want to be," he admitted. "Not because I need to fix anything, but because this matters to me." His voice trembled in a way he didn't hide. Emily approached the counter, rolling up her sleeves. "Well," she said, "grab that apron. We've got work to do." Their movements danced in quiet harmony, passing ingredients, sharing glances, shifting around each other with ease, the kind of ease that didn't need explanations. By mid-morning, volunteers filled the room, laughing, prepping trays, stacking plates, sharing stories. Nathan moved among them naturally, helping without directing, listening without interrupting. It was a version of him Emily had always believed was possible. After lunch, the crowd thinned, and sunlight streamed through the stained windows. Emily stepped outside to take out trash bags, and Nathan followed a moment later, carrying the last one. The air was warm, the pavement still damp from the storm. They walked to the dumpster behind the building in comfortable silence. When they were done, Emily leaned against the brick wall, eyes closing briefly as she enjoyed the breeze. Nathan stood a few feet away, watching her quietly. There was something reverent in the way he looked at her, like she was the first real thing he'd ever seen. "I've been thinking," he said finally. Emily opened her eyes, giving him her full attention. Nathan took a slow breath, courage building inside him. "I want to make things right. For the company, for the people I hurt, and for myself." Emily stepped closer, curiosity softening her features. "How do you plan to do that?" she asked. Nathan ran a hand through his hair. "Not in stress, but in vulnerability. I want to rebuild differently. Honestly," he hesitated before adding, "and I want you to know that you're the reason I can even imagine that." Emily's breath caught, a flicker of warmth crossing her expression. Not romantic, not dramatic, just deeply human, deeply true. "You taught me I wasn't done," Nathan continued softly. "That God wasn't done." He met her gaze fully, without fear this time. "I don't know what comes next, but I know I want to keep choosing this, choosing growth, choosing grace." Emily looked up at him, eyes shining. "Nathan, that's not a small thing. That's everything." She took one step closer, close enough for truth but not demand. "You've changed, and not for me, but for you." He exhaled shakily, emotion returning like a wave. "I don't deserve you," he whispered. Emily's smile was soft but sure. "It's not about deserving," she said. "It's about showing up." And then Nathan did something he had never done before. Not in business, not in relationships, not even in apology. He stepped back and knelt, not in shame, not in defeat, but in humility, in gratitude, in love that grew in quiet places. Emily's breath trembled as she watched him. The millionaire who once thought kneeling meant losing, now knelt willingly, reverently, honestly. "For everything you've given me," he said softly. "Thank you." Emily reached out, touching his shoulder gently. "Stand up, Nathan," she whispered, voice thick with emotion. "You don't need to bow to me. Just walk with me." He rose slowly, breath shaking, eyes shining with a new kind of strength. A strength built not on pride, but on truth. They stood in the golden light, two people shaped by storms, grace, and second chances. Not perfect, not finished, but chosen for growth, for healing, for each other. Love didn't sweep them away. It rebuilt them. And somewhere inside the quiet of that small town, Nathan Hale finally understood. Kneeling wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning of love, the beginning of purpose, the beginning of him. Before you leave, let this story stay with you. If Nathan's journey touched your heart, If Emily's courage reminded you of grace, if those three simple words, "God isn't done," echoed somewhere deep inside your soul, then don't walk away quietly. Subscribe to Redeemed Hearts so you never miss the stories that remind you that God writes endings more beautiful than anything we could ever imagine. Leave a comment sharing which moment spoke to you the most today. Your words might be the reminder someone else desperately needs. And if this story lifted you, healed you, or made you believe that redemption is still possible, share it with one person, just one. You might change their night or their life. Because here in this family, we believe in second chances, in grace that rebuilds, and in love that kneels to heal. God isn't done with you. Stay with us. More stories are waiting.